I'm Gabriel Flores, also known as Maybe Lee. Today, I want to have a little talk with you guys. This is a series that I put together, also, like a talk show type thing that I'm doing. Basically, what I'm doing is there's two components to each series. The first component is me talking about my ideas, my thoughts, things that my experiences, things that I've lived through and thought about and stuff like that. And then part two of it is where I go out and do research as it relates to my personal experience, my thoughts, my ideas. And it might not be exactly the same as that thing, but it's going to be it's going to be related to it in some way. And I do that because I want it to be enriched. I want it to be just a little bit more than that, because it's a talk show and stuff. So I hope you guys find the care I put into it for you guys, that I care about my audience, and I don't want to put out a product that's not good. But I want to discuss my view of time. Time, like a watch and stuff like that. It's easy to use time every single day and not really think about the obvious things, but that it's important to do that, to think about the obvious stuff, because it's important. It's something we use every single day. Yet we don't necessarily take note of the details of that thing that we use every day. We kind of take it for granted, I guess, is an easy way to put it. So it's kind of like necessary to step back every once in a while and kind of review that stuff and keep going forward. And for time, time is one of those things that we use every single day. We rely on time. Without time, we wouldn't be able to achieve our goals. We wouldn't be able to attain our dreams, and every single day reach out in front of us and take grasp of our dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. Without time, the world wouldn't even exist. Time is super important, and it's like such a huge thing. Time is such a huge thing because where it comes from, it's such a huge thing. But at the same time, it almost seems like time is just time. It's like that box, those boxes that are on that piece of paper that I have to go write this stuff down in. I have to remember. But time is huge. Time is huge. It comes from the sun. That's where time comes from. The sun. Our calendar is based off of the sun. And it's not just something that was thrown out there. It's a real thing. There is a power, a effect, a force that comes from the sun. And is it good or bad? We don't know, but it's a real thing. It's like a law. It's like something that happens because of the sun, something the sun is doing to us, and stuff like that. You think about sleep and getting tired and falling short of your dreams, not being able to do everything you want to in a single day. Why isn't it just one long day? Why isn't our life just one big, long, huge day or something like that, instead of waking up? I calculated at one time how many days a person lives through, and I think it's like up there in like the 70,000s or something like that. But I know it's close to that, and I don't know if I calculated it from the day that I was calculating it, or if I did it till all the way back to the day I was born, but I know it's like 70,000 something days that a person goes through, so, why isn't it like that? Why is it the way it is? But the sun is the most important thing in regards to time. Our sun is paramount with time. And for Westerners here such as us here in the United States, that I would lost my train of thought. But so the things that I was talking about for time that we kind of don't think about very much is, when you think about time, what makes where does time come from? Time comes from our watch, comes from a phone. I think the most common place to get the time is from your phone, your smartphone nowadays. Before smartphones, I can't remember where I used to check the time before smartphones, but I would say a watch. I remember having watches back in the day before phones came out, so I'd probably say a watch. But where do you get the time from? Your watch. And on that watch is broken down using numbers. They could have used letters, they could have used something else, but they use the number system, mathematics. Are there any sciences relating to letters or words? And I would say political science is probably one. But in this case, time uses numbers or Roman numerals. And then there's hours, minutes, and seconds. Other basic things about time. We go and define our day between, you got day and night, you have morning time, afternoon, evening, nighttime, you got midnight. You define, and then certain times are further defined, like noon or midnight, or then on the other side of that, you have times of the day, like when it becomes twilight, or sunrise at sunrise, and sunset, where you have to be looking at the sky, or it's really impossible to not be able to tell that, like, yeah, it's getting close to sunset or sunrise, because we have windows and stuff like that. But in theory, yeah, you would have to be outside to notice that, yeah, it's sunrise right now. What time is it? And then you look at your clock to see what time it is. And so it works like that. But when you're just looking at your clock and you see it's on the 12, well, it's noon. That's noon time. And stuff like that. Other basic things about time that kind of we don't pay attention to very much is, you can, like I said earlier, you can use time is used for everything. You have to use time. You have to, in order to achieve a goal, you have to take into account the amount of time it's going to take you to achieve the goal, to get there. So there's really no way around that. You have to use time. But and so that's really basic thing, because you don't think about it when you try to reach a goal. You automatically start thinking, how many days is it going to take to achieve it? And then you break it down further in other ways too. Then you break it down, well, I'm going to have to do the rough draft first, then I'm going to write it, then I'm going to edit, rough draft portion is going to take 1 day, edit's going to take a day, and blah blah blah. So you automatically do that. You automatically take into account time. But it's really basic, yeah. But time is critical to achieving goals and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about, things such as time, because it is so ingrained into our life. It's so important. It's necessary. That you just don't think about it a lot, and what it really means, what time really means. Um, for me, I do things at certain times. Just like most people complete their work during the daytime. There's very few people that do work through the night and stuff like that. If you are one of those people that completes their work during the nighttime, it's called a graveyard shift. So people define what they're doing based off of time too, and stuff like that. But anyways, my view of time is it's like a thread through the world that exists. It's almost like it's like magical. It's powerful. It's a galactical tool that we use, that we utilize for certain things. If you guys want to read something really cool, I have a really cool article that is a really cool article, and it relates to everything I just talked about. It's from a website called cracked.com, from a guy. His name is Maxwell Yekpidolak. I think it's Maxwell Yekpidolak. His last name I might not have exactly correct, but I think it's pretty close. I know for sure his name is Maxwell, and then his last name I think is Yekpidolak. He wrote an article on February 11th, 2012. And in it he states, there are a few things in this world that we can always rely on as constants. He says there are a few things in this world that we can always rely on as constants. And what makes the article so interesting is that not only does he discuss everything that I was just talking about a few seconds ago, but he also goes over several time theories, such as time travel, aging, in addition to qualities of time. Really good article. to read. But bouncing back to time, I mentioned it earlier. Time, we use a calendar, a day planner. That's based off of time. That we might not really sit there and think about specifically, like, yeah, this is time, but your calendar is time. That's time. You literally have time on that piece of paper with those boxes. That's time. Your watch is time. So because of time, we're limited to the things that we can do. So it almost seems like time is holding us back. But at the same time, the world wouldn't exist without time. We wouldn't exist without time. And basically, that's all I have for today. Thank you for sitting in on this episode of Time. See you later.